Okay, I want to tell you a story. Steve and I were sitting on the front row yesterday, and John Acuff is going through his thing about empathy. And Steve said, where is Chris Dobb? Well, none of you know who Chris Dobb is, but let me tell you the story. How many of you follow the Crown Council on Facebook? Okay, well, some of you probably saw the video that Stuart took of UPS picking up the 10 pallets that we brought to the annual event. Now, a pallet, 48 inches by 40 inches by 7 feet tall, 9,000 pounds of stuff going onto the truck. And it's like we have a celebration moment when this happens, because the warehouse at the Crown Council gets all full and then it's totally empty. And we give the pallets to UPS, and it's like giving them one of your children. And then you can track it as it moves across the country. So we track it, and it went through Kansas City, and the 10 pallets were there, and then it got to Memphis, and the 10 pallets were there, and Friday it got to Nashville, and the 10 pallets were there, and woohoo, they're all here. And then Monday at 4 o'clock, they delivered them to the Omni, and the Omni called and they said, 9 of your pallets are here. And we know they're 10. And we said, well, okay, which pallet isn't there? And they're numbered, 1 of 10, 2 of 10, 3 of 10. And they said, well, number two is not here. So you remember check-in yesterday? All of the material for check-in, all of these, all of your name tags, all of your invitations, everything is on pallet number 2. And I can't tell you how much work putting together pallet number 2 was. It's just, we don't have that much time. So I called the 800 number, push 1 for if your pallet's lost, And what we learned was that when they put the pallets out, they put a barcode on each pallet, but it's the same barcode for each pallet. So they're checking this thing all the way through, and somebody's poking the thing with the barcode, and it's tracking the 10 pallets as though there are 10, unless somebody goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't even know if there are 10 there. So we don't know where the pallet is. So I called the 800 number, and they said they'd look for it. I have no confidence in that. So in the Omni, they have a UPS store, and it's run by Chris Dobb. And so I went up and talked to Chris, and I said, I'm a little distressed, and I need somebody to find pallet number 2. And he said, I'm your man, I will take care of it. And some people, when they say they'll do something, you go, this is a guy that will really follow through for me. So Tuesday, we get here, and there's still no pallet number 2. And he has called the guy at the Nashville hub thingy, and he has had them walk all the way through everything and go out and open the back of all of the trucks, and there's nothing there. So now it's Wednesday morning, and now we're getting a little concerned, and we're going to go to Home Depot or Home Office Max and buy, hello, my name is. Actually, I'll tell you what we actually thought is, you guys remember Ron White? So we were just going to say, this event, go introduce yourself and remember everybody's name. Chris is now calling not only the main dudes that track stuff, but he's calling like all of his friends at all of the other hubs all the way around. He calls me Wednesday afternoon at like 5 o'clock. And by now we're just short of panic. And he says, we found your pallet. And of course, a big wave of relief goes through you. And he says, it's in Atlanta. I'm speechless because my first word is, how soon can they get here? And he says, the soonest they can deliver it is either late Thursday or early Friday. Well, that's kind of not very good. And I mean, so think about John Acuff yesterday, and the empathy statement, and how that works, because he could have very easily have said, "Found it, job's done. If you want to go get it, I guess you can. Otherwise, this can come here on Friday." But then he said, "I went and rented myself a van, and Chris is driving to Atlanta, and he's going to go get it. And when he gets there, it's evidently it had fallen over somewhere along the way, and it's in pieces. It's all over the dock. We still don't know why it went to Atlanta, by the way. And so he puts it all in. He gets it loaded up by midnight on Wednesday night, and when we woke up, he got back here about 4 in the morning. It was all stacked very nicely in our room in the back. And when we got here at 6 o'clock on Thursday morning to set up check-in, all of the materials were sitting in the room, and we're kind of dweeby. I mean, it was such a show of personal integrity and taking your job to the end that we think he's great. And so I asked him. He's got a little bit of stage fright, so but and you won't believe it when you see him. But I asked him if he would come here this morning so that we could give him a round of applause. And if you would welcome Chris Dobb to the stage. He's around. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, I tell you that story as an example of the kind of commitment. Chris isn't actually an employee of the Omni, although he's at the hotel. He's an employee of UPS. We've been loyal UPS guys for 20 years. But when you say the name UPS or you say the word Omni to us, I don't think about anything else except for what one guy did. And it's a great example of brand loyalty. Thank you. We wrote you a thank you note on one of the covers that you saved. And then you live in Nashville, so I'm going to introduce you to Tommy Neighbors. We asked Chris this morning who his dentist was, and he said he goes to his wife's dentist, can't remember his name. So we thought, in the spirit, of the Crown Council, Tommy's office is up the street, and he also, our friends at Oral ID, Tommy does oral cancer screening for every one of his patients, and that's something Chris wants to be sure he gets done at least once a year, because in the spirit of Joe Garagiola, he's a cowboy. And you and Tommy can get together backstage, and he'll make an appointment for you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.